The great hall was silent. 12 species sat in a circle of stone. The air smelled like burnt metal and cold fear. This was the Galactic Council, a place where war and peace were decided by words, not weapons. But today, fear sat on every tongue. At the center stood a short, shaking figure, Ambassador Veli of the Zaan people. His skin was thin, his eyes too large for his face. He looked like a creature built to run, not fight. He wasn't here to argue, he was here to beg. They have taken 3 of our moons, he said softly, and now they build weapons in orbit. Their machines do not sleep. Their ships grow bigger each day. We cannot stop them. A long pause followed. The voice of the council leader, Chairwoman Riser of the Crix, filled the chamber like a cold wind. You speak of Earth. Veli nodded. Yes, humans. The word echoed. Humans. A race that once begged for scraps in the stars. A race no one took seriously. A race that was left alone after the last war because no one thought they were worth conquering. Now they were feared. They said they wanted peace, Veli continued. But after we denied them trade routes, after we blocked their colony ships, they changed. He looked at each council member in turn. They do not speak now. They do not warn. They just move forward, and whatever stands in their way disappears. The council chamber darkened. A large screen lit up. Images appeared. Destroyed fleets, melted outposts, dead silence on trade beacons, and Earth's flag carved into stone on captured worlds. A human skull behind blue and white stars. Councilman Dracker of the Aeronox slammed his clawed fist. Enough. These are isolated events. Earth is angry, yes, but they are still one world. We are 12 powers. We can crush them. Ambassador Veli looked at him. No, he said. You cannot. The chamber went still again. They do not fight like us. They fight like something broken, something ancient. They don't attack your fleets. They destroy your food, your fuel, your mines. They don't take prisoners. Chairwoman Riser narrowed her eyes. What do you want? Veli lowered his head. Support. A murmur ran through the chamber. Dracker laughed. You want us to fight your war? Veli shook his head. No. I want you to fight our nightmare. Chairwoman Riser leaned back. What happens if we do? Veli's voice dropped to a whisper. They will come for you next. A long silence. Then Chairwoman Riser turned to the council screen. Send a message to Earth, she ordered. We request a meeting. Another council member hissed. What if they don't reply? But someone else answered. From the far side of the room. An officer ran in, breathless. They already did. A screen lit up again. One message. No face. No voice. Just text. You had your chance, now you learn. The message erased itself. The lights went out, and from far across the stars, near the dark edge of council space, a signal was heard. An old human war signal. One that hadn't been used in over 150 years. It read, Operation Black Root, begin. 3 days later, a scout ship from the council's border patrol went missing. Then a station went dark. Then another. Each time, only one thing was left behind. A message etched in ship holes. Written in fire. Carved into rock. We don't want peace. We want distance. Back in the Galactic Council, panic spread like fire. Species that once ignored Earth now asked questions. How did they build so fast? How did they hide this many ships? How did we miss it? The truth was simple. While the galaxy laughed, while the great races argued, while Earth was ignored, humans remembered. They remembered being humiliated. Their diplomats laughed out of chambers. Their people kept out of colonies. Their cargo ships taxed into ruin. So they watched. They waited. They built. And now they were not asking any more. They were taking. Chairwoman Riser called another emergency meeting. We must show strength. Form a united fleet. Put pressure on Earth's borders. But Veli spoke again. No, he said. You don't pressure humans. You push them and they push back harder. Dracker growled. Then we attack. And that was the mistake. The United Fleet launched 2 days later. 600 ships. 6 different species. They moved toward the edge of human space. They planned to make a show of force. To frighten Earth into retreat. To remind them of their place. They didn't reach the halfway point. Instead, their ships stopped responding. No distress calls. No explosions. No escape pods. Nothing, just silence. Until the council received one last image. Sent from an anonymous channel. It showed the United Fleet floating in pieces, every ship taken apart, clean cuts, precise work, no signs of fire, no signs of battle, just dismantled, like someone had studied every ship and turned them off, piece by piece. Then another message arrived. This time, there was a voice, calm, human. You asked what we wanted, the voice said. We wanted trade. You gave us taxes. We wanted peace. You gave us blockades. We wanted respect. You gave us silence. The voice paused. But now we want you to feel what we felt. A final word came after a long pause. Run. The message ended. Chairwoman Riser stood frozen. Ambassador Veli slowly backed away, and somewhere in deep space, under dark stars and dead moons, Earth's fleet kept moving. No leaders shown. No flags waved. No help offered. Just silence and action, because the humans had changed. They were not asking anymore. They were coming. No one knew where the fleet went. 600 ships. Gone. No battle logs. No black box recordings. Just silence. The Galactic Council's greatest armada, made of 6 species' finest warships, had vanished near Earth's border, and now, fear spread, faster than light. In the council chamber, Chairwoman Riser of the Crix leaned over the long table. Her skin shimmered silver, normally a sign of control, but now, it looked dull, tired. They didn't even fight us, she whispered. They didn't need to. Ambassador Veli of the Zan sat alone in the corner, his eyes closed, mouth moving. Silently, he wasn't praying, he was calculating. We don't know what weapon they used, he said, or even if it was a weapon. Councilman Draka of the Aeronox stood with clenched fists. They dismantled 600 ships. Like toys. They should not have that kind of power. They shouldn't, Riser said softly. But they do. Draka slammed the table. Then we hit them harder. Send the second fleet. No, Veli whispered. If you do, Earth will erase you, Draka sneered. You're afraid. Veli opened his eyes and stared back. Yes, and that fear is correct. The room fell silent. On the large screen, a map showed the latest reports. Outposts near human space were going dark. Supply stations were no longer reporting in. Civilian ships traveling near Earth-controlled lanes disappeared without distress. Signals. And each time, a single message was left behind. You were warned. The council called for more scouts, but none returned. The silence was louder than war, until one ship made it back. The Talon V, a light recon craft from the Venari Empire, returned to council space on half-dash power. It drifted into a dock, its hull scarred and melted in places. The docking team boarded it quickly. No crew. No bodies. Just one thing. A single human voice recording playing on loop. Your silence cost us years. Your arrogance cost us trust. Your ships cost us patience. Now, we cost you time. The message ended, and then played again. And again. Chairwoman Riser ordered it shut off, but the techs couldn't stop it. They had to cut the power to the ship itself. Inside the council chamber, the mood turned darker. No one laughed at Earth anymore. No one interrupted when Veli spoke. No, they listened, and they worried. Veli stepped forward. Humans don't want territory. They don't want resources. They want memory. They want every species here to remember who ignored them, who mocked them, who left them alone while they suffered. Draco whispered, "What do we do?" There was no answer, because Earth had said nothing more, but their actions were louder than any fleet. Council beacons started showing ghost readings, signals coming from inside their own secure sectors. Then those signals would vanish. It was like Earth was watching them. Then the Council's communication relay on Zavos 3 went offline. No attack, no warning. Just off. Their technicians repaired it. 10 minutes later, it melted from the inside. A message was found in its cooling systems, carved into the metal. We are already inside. Panic spread. Planets began pulling back their defense fleets. Stations locked down. Trade ships rerouted far from Earth space, and still the humans said nothing. Chairwoman Riser called an emergency meeting. Not just the 12 main powers. She invited the outer worlds. The exiles, the merchants, even the fringe pirates. They all came. Every one of them had a story about Earth. How human ships moved without being seen. Tower weapons fired from nowhere. How drones appeared from inside walls. And most importantly, how no human ever spoke once the attacks began. They simply acted. One pirate lord shared a chilling tale. "We tried raiding a human cargo convoy," he said, voice shaking. 3 ships. We surrounded them. We sent threats. "What happened?" Riser asked. "They shut down their own ship, then blew it. Took 2 of ours with them. You survived." He shook his head. "No, I'm a clone. They found my original and erased him. This memory ends at the ambush. I woke up 2 weeks ago. That was Earth's new method. They didn't chase. They didn't capture. They ended the problem before it began, in some cases. Before the enemy even realized they'd made a mistake. The council started to split. Some members wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to surrender. A few wanted revenge, but no one could agree until Earth spoke again. Across the galaxy, every screen went black. Every transmission interrupted. Then a video played. Not long, only 30 seconds. It showed a world the Council recognized, a training planet in the Aeronox system. It had barracks, weapon factories, war schools. It had 3 million people on it. The video showed it from above, then from far away, then dash light. The planet cracked, not exploded, cracked like an egg. Fire poured out, then silence, and a message: we are not here to take, we are here to end. The message ended, and every screen returned to normal. Chairwoman Riser stood. Her voice was tight. We have no choice. We must open peace talks. Draco shouted. They don't want peace. They want to break us, Veli said quietly. They already have. He wasn't wrong. Economies across the Council were collapsing from fear. Trade routes were dead. Stations were being evacuated, just from the possibility of Earth's approach. In 2 weeks, without open war, Earth had done more damage than any full-scale invasion in Council history, and they weren't finished. Earth's newest ship was now seen on long-range scans, only once, a giant black dot, silent, no name, no lights, moving slowly toward the Council's center, and behind it, nothing, no fleet, no backup, just one ship. It was enough. Chairwoman Riser stepped away from the Council after that. She gave no reason. She disappeared 3 days later. No one could trace her. Only one message was found in her personal quarters, a note written in human English. It said, I heard the footsteps. I chose silence. And that's when the Council finally understood. The war was never about space. It wasn't about power. It wasn't even about revenge. It was about fear. Fear of what humans had become. Fear of what they knew and never showed. Fear of what they could do without a single word. They had warned the galaxy. Then they stopped warning now. They were demonstrating, and the nightmare was only just beginning. It began with static. Not war. Not explosions. Just a whisper of sound that came through the Council's deep space network. At first, the technicians thought it was background radiation. Then the frequency shifted. The static formed patterns, and then words, but not in any alien language. It was English, a voicemail.com/human repeating the same sentence. Again and again. This is your last message. Remember it. The signal came from deep within uncharted space, far beyond Earth's known borders, an area marked dark zone on Council maps. No ships returned from there, yet here was a message, and when the signal was traced, something even stranger was discovered. It came from a Council ship, a heavy cruiser. The CNS Valorous Dawn reported missing 19 years ago during a border war with pirates. The Council had assumed it was destroyed, but now it was transmitting. In a human voice, Councilman Draco stared at the readings with cold eyes. They took one of our ships, modified it. They've been watching us for 2 decades. Ambassador. Veli said nothing. He just breathed slowly, hands trembling. They didn't just take it, one technician whispered. They rebuilt it. The scans showed the cruiser's original frame, but the interior had changed. The power core was alien. The weapons were unknown. Its heat signature didn't match any known energy type. It's more human than we are. Now, Veli said. Chair control changed hands as panic rose. Fleets were pulled from outer patrols. Security checks were ordered across every capital, but nothing could prepare them for what came next. The Valorous Dawn began moving not toward Earthspace. Toward the Council core. The central hub of all government, trade, and control. Heavily guarded, shielded, surrounded by 3 orbital rings and 9,000 defensive platforms, a fortress in space. No enemy ship had ever come near it until now, and Earth didn't send a fleet. They sent one ship. No shields raised. No weapons fired. It just drifted forward. Silent. Unstoppable. The Council ordered every defense active. Missiles, lasers, even psychic intercept teams. But the Valorous Dawn didn't stop. 1,000 weapons locked onto it. Chairwoman Riser's replacement, a cold strategist named Zor Valen, gave the order, fire. They did. Everything. Missiles screamed. Beams cut the sky. The ship was hit 100 times in 1 minute, and then all lights died. Not on the ship, on the entire defense ring. The Council's strongest weapons shut down. Lights went out. Stations fell quiet for 37 seconds. The most secure system in the galaxy was blind. When the power returned, the Valorous Dawn was gone. Just gone. No wreckage, no energy trail, just silence and one thing left behind. A single sentence burned into the outer shell of orbital ring. 3. You had your warning. Zor Valen stood frozen as he stared at the message. He turned to the rest of the Council. They teleported it. Veli shook his head. No, they didn't need to. They walked it past you. For the first time, Zor Valen looked scared. Walked it. They moved it in ways you can't see, Veli said. Humans have gone past war. They've reached something else. The truth was clear now. Earth didn't need a fleet. Earth didn't need a fleet. Earth was a fleet. Their machines could fly themselves. Their AIs could outthink Council systems in seconds, and worst of all, they had patience. One of the last signals from the Valorous Dawn was a data packet. It took the Council weeks to break its encryption. Inside was one file, a list of names. Thousands of them. Council officials, military leaders, scientists, traders. Every one of them had at some point in history stood against Earth, blocked a deal, stolen a cargo. Lied on a report, punished a human colony, and beside each name was one word: judged, and for half the names a second word: complete. There was when the disappearances made sense. Across the galaxy, minor leaders had been vanishing, ships exploding in accidents, scientists disappearing during deep research trips, or silent. All clean. No traces. Just gone. The Council now understood. Earth had been keeping score. Zor Valen demanded retaliation, but against what? There were no Earthships in sight, no stations, no known bases, nothing to attack. Even Earth's location was now shielded by thick energy clouds. Any ship sent near the solar system either vanished or turned back with broken memory drives. One pilot returned blind, literally blind, his eyes still open but empty. He kept repeating two words: they watched. That was all. The Council's greatest minds couldn't explain it. No disease, no damage. Just a mind that had seen something it couldn't handle. Zor Valen suggested psychological warfare, propaganda campaigns, but who would believe them now? The galaxy trusted Earth. They didn't love it, but they feared it, and fear was louder than loyalty. Smaller species began turning away from the Council. We will not challenge Earth, one outer system leader said. They do not lie. They act. We respect that. Zor Valen tried to threaten them. The outer colonies ignored him because now they knew something no one else wanted to admit. Humanity wasn't rising. It had already risen, and now it was cleaning up the mess, one step at a time. Ambassador Veli finally said what no one else dared. We are not in a war. Zor snapped. Then what is this? Veli looked up. We're in a punishment. And far away, deep beyond the Council's eyes, the real Earth moved in silence. Underground cities, orbital rings wrapped in false asteroids, shipyards hidden inside, dead stars. AI minds that hadn't spoken in centuries now. Awake. They didn't celebrate, they didn't rage, they just moved. They had waited long enough, and now they were ready. Earth didn't want revenge anymore, it wanted balance. And soon, the rest of the galaxy would learn what that really meant. The Council received a package, not a transmission, not a signal. A physical package. It appeared inside their most secure vault, Vault Theta Prime, a place protected by radiation walls, time delay fields, and living guards from 3 species. No alarm went off, no breach was recorded. The package was just there, a silver cube, warm to the touch, with a smooth black seal on top. The seal showed Earth's flag but different. The stars were red, and the skull behind them wasn't stylized anymore. It was real. Councilman Draco refused to touch it. Ambassador Veli did. The cube opened. Inside was a hologram. A slow-moving list, names. Thousands. And next to each, the same label. Draco growled. What does this mean? Veli's voice was quiet. It means Earth is calling the galaxies. The Council tried to fight it with politics. They issued statements, broadcasted apologies, sent envoys, but one by one, those envoys vanished. Entire diplomatic teams gone. Their shuttles found days later, drifting in space. No damage, no bodies. No bodies. Just empty seats. And a recording playing the same sentence. You cannot explain what you refuse to listen to. Zor Valen, now desperate, tried to mobilize a new fleet, but he had a problem. Half the species no longer trusted the Council. The other half had secretly opened communications with Earth, and Earth replied only once: we are not interested in your words, only in your actions. On the 5th day of silence, the Council's largest trade hub, Lentraport, experienced a total blackout. The port was home to 1.2 million people. It lost power for exactly 3 minutes and 12 seconds. When power returned, everything worked. Except the central bank. Gone. Every account. Every record. All financial systems reduced to zero. A message played on every screen: you funded suffering, so now you owe suffering. Markets crashed. Credits lost meaning. And the Council's economic control was gone overnight. Now, Zor Valen truly panicked. They're not just destroying weapons, they're destroying the system. The truth was clear. To everyone now, Earth wasn't fighting a war. Earth was dismantling a structure carefully, piece by piece. They didn't need fleets anymore. Their weapons were data. Their soldiers were hidden machines. Their bombs were silenced in the outer systems. People started calling it the Great Rebalancing, and Earth said nothing to deny it in secret. Council scientists met to understand the new human tech, but every time they ran a scan on a captured piece of equipment, it self-destructed. And not just physically, it erased memory. Whole lab computers melted from the inside like they'd been infected with thoughts that didn't want to be understood. The humans were not just ahead, they were unreachable. Draker ordered spies. 3 were sent into deep, Earth-controlled zones. Only 1 came back. Her name was Lyrics. She was young, bright, brave. She walked into the council chamber, pale and shaking. "They're not what we thought," she said. Zor stood. "Tell us everything." She looked at him. "Still think they're angry." "They're not." "Then what are they?" She hesitated, disappointed. The room went still. Lyrics continued. "They believed in us once, long ago. They thought the galaxy was fair. They thought the council protected peace. But when Earth needed help, we turned away, and they watched." She whispered. They studied every betrayal, every insult, every stolen shipment, every law that hurt their colonies. They collected it all, and now they're simply balancing the account." Zor clenched his jaw. "We must stop them." Lyrics laughed softly, not out of joy. "You can't stop gravity by yelling at the ground." Then she collapsed. Dead, no cause found. Not poison. Not illness, just silence inside. Her body, like the human message, had been planted, and once it was delivered, there was nothing left after that. Nobody volunteered to spy again. On the edge of council space, lights began to flicker in long-abandoned war zones. Human ships were spotted, not fighting, not destroying, but cleaning. Wreckage vanished, weapon caches removed. Infected, planets sterilized. They didn't leave flags or commands, they just erased the rot. Then left. 1 pirate syndicate. The Zan Blades tried attacking a recovery ship. They jammed its signals, boarded it. Only 3 pirates returned, all 3 blind, all 3 mute, and all 3 wrote the same word in different languages on every wall they passed. Balance. In desperation, Zor Valin sent a surrender message. "We will disarm. We will leave human space. We will pay reparations." Earth replied instantly, with 1 sentence. This is not a negotiation. Now it was no longer a war between governments. Now it was fear spreading into culture. Children on council worlds began drawing human ships in their sleep. Some said they heard humming in the walls. Old machines began turning on by themselves. Council translators reported that Earth's older languages, long thought dead, were appearing in ancient ruins. Places humans had never been. It was like Earth had become part of something deeper. Not just technology, a force. And then the final proof came. A signal from the center of the galaxy, from a place where no ship had ever returned. The black core, a dead zone, no stars, no light, no LIFEA signal appeared there, only for a moment. In human code. 2 words. Judgment active. The council sent a probe. It burned the moment it crossed the border. No explosion, no trace, just a message left in its own data core written in human hand. "This place is not for you." The council finally gave up. They didn't issue orders. They didn't declare anything. They just stopped. The great powers shut off their channels. The fleets were grounded. The banks closed. And one by one, the lights across the galaxy dimmed, because everyone knew balance was being paid by everyone, and Earth would not stop until the scale was level. Nothing moved in the skies of Lurax's prime. A world once known for music, art and trade, now sat in silence, not because it was attacked, not because humans dropped bombs, but because of fear. Pure, heavy, choking fear. One day, the stars above Luraxis filled with dark ships. They didn't fire, they didn't send a message, they just hovered. No one left their homes, no one worked. For 3 days, the ships remained still, then they disappeared. No sound, no sign. Only 1 small tower was found in the capital city, a single symbol on its surface, Earth's flag, wrapped in a circle of broken chains, and 1 word, in the base of the tower, freed. That word meant everything because Luraxis was not council-controlled anymore. It was something else. Earth never claimed it, but it also never left. And Luraxis, like many others, quietly shifted its allegiance not by war but by presence. Earth didn't need to invade anymore, it just appeared, and everything changed in the council chambers. Zor Valin stared at the latest reports, planets going dark, all without a single weapon fired. This is psychological warfare, he growled. No, said Ambassador Veli, who now sat at the far end of the room, older and thinner. It's deeper than that. Then what? Zor demanded. Veli looked around slowly. It's shame. Zor laughed bitterly. Shame doesn't change power. Veli shook his head. It changes everything. You don't understand. The galaxy isn't afraid of humans anymore. They're ashamed. We all are. The room fell silent because Veli was right for years. Species ignored Earth's cries for help, mocked their slow rise, took from them, lied to them. Now, Earth was not burning cities, it was showing the galaxy what it could have been if they had simply been respected. Now Earth was offering peace, but not through deals. It was giving peace through demonstration. On every world touched by humans, the result was the same. Cures for old diseases appeared in hospitals, machines fixed themselves, drones repaired old cities without being asked. AI voices offered knowledge to those who listened, but if a government tried to resist, it vanished, cleanly, silently, no violence, no threat. One moment there, next moment gone. And people stopped asking questions, because life was better. Now no taxes, no corruption, no war, just silence and function. One by one, council colonies turned off their loyalty beacons and lit blue lights. Instead, Earth blew. In the deepest reaches of space, an old broken moon was found glowing with new light. When scouts arrived, they found a giant structure built inside. No doors, no signs, only a pulsing core of blue-white energy. It hummed with sound, not music, not language, but emotion. It made everyone near it cry. One message played every hour. We remember. That's why we built. Zor Valen issued his last command. Send a peace delegation. The last one. 30 officials from every major species. They left together, escorted by neutral ships. They sent their message into Earth space. We surrender. We accept your judgment. Teach us. No reply came, not at first. Then the signal lights on the ship changed. Every screen went dark. Then a human face appeared. A woman. Old, weathered, calm. She looked directly at the delegates. I am Commander Rhea, of Earth, she said. We accept nothing. You have already made your choice. Zor, watching from afar, didn't understand. The ambassador of the Van people asked, then what happens now? Commander Rhea paused. You live, she said. The screen faded. The ship was allowed to pass, and when they landed on the hidden Earthworld, they didn't find weapons, they found cities. Perfect cities. No hunger, no pain, no inequality, no violence, only quiet work, shared progress. And the humans, they barely spoke. They helped, they guided, they taught, but never with force, because they didn't have to. Earth had moved past war, past pride. It had reached something else. Order with choice. Zor Valen retired a month later. No one replaced him. The council didn't fall. It just stopped. People didn't want it anymore. They wanted peace, real peace. And Earth gave it to them in silence. The final human message was sent 1 year after the first fleet vanished. It was short to all systems, in every language, across every planet, screen and mind. We did not come to rule. We came to correct. Now you decide. And then no more messages were sent. Just help if you wanted it. Or silence if you didn't. Because that was Earth's new power. They no longer needed to be heard to be known. The old rules were gone. No more council commands. No more taxes, fleets, or force. But what replaced it was stranger than anything the galaxy expected. Because Earth didn't rise to power with fire. It rose with presence. And now that presence was everywhere. On Draxon 7, the population once lived under military law. Starvation was common. Water was sold at high prices. Citizens worked like machines. Then the skies changed. 6 ships appeared. No sound, no landing. They hovered in place for 4 hours, then left. And when they left, Draxon changed. Water pipelines repaired themselves. Food storage grew by 800%. Old factories began making new things quietly, efficiently. People gathered in silence. No human visited. No order was given, but overnight, Draxon 7 became peaceful. No speeches, no bloodshed, just change. Other worlds reported the same. Where Earth touched, things improved without control, and that's what scared the old leaders most, because people didn't just obey humans, they trusted them, even without seeing them. Zor Valen, now living in quiet exile, watched as messages came in from across the stars. We don't need weapons anymore. There hasn't been a crime in 40 days. Oh. Children are happier. The galaxy was healing, but not in the way wars ended. It was healing from within. Earth wasn't a conqueror, they were a correction. On the lost mining world of Jorox a strange event occurred. The planet had been dead for centuries. No air, no life. Then, a council drone found cities, new ones. Clean air. Working systems. And a sign carved into stone. This is what you left behind. We made it better. No humans were seen. But it was clearly Earth's work. Ambassador Veli, now leading a group of peacekeepers, said it best. They don't want to rule. They want to erase failure. He was right. Earth didn't build thrones. They built hospitals. They didn't drop flags. They cleaned poisoned rivers. They didn't command armies. They lifted broken systems and quietly left. And slowly, the galaxy started asking a strange question. Were we the bad ones all along? Because that was Earth's true weapon. Not fear. Not fleets. Reflection. They held up a mirror to every race, and what each world saw was not Earth's power, but its own shame. The Zarn Blades, once the most feared pirate group, dissolved. Their leader, a being called Krell the Still-Eyed, walked into a council ruined site and laid down his weapons. I don't fear death, he said. I fear being remembered like this. He was never seen again. No execution, no prison, just gone. And in his place, a school was built by drones, with no words, just action, more and more. Humans weren't seen, but their work remained. It spread like roots, quiet, deep, permanent, and the final sign of Earth's victory came without warning. On the anniversary of the Council fleet's disappearance, a signal went out to every system. A simple white light blinked across stars, moons, and machines. It pulsed 5 times, then stopped, and on every screen, every datapad, every neural link, one final sentence appeared. If you are still watching us, you've already lost. Then nothing more, no threats, no demands, just absence. And in that silence, the galaxy faced a truth no one could escape. Earth had not taken over. They had simply removed everything that hurt. Progress. Corruption. War. Control. Hate. And they didn't need permission to do it. They had waited. Watched. Prepared. And when the time came, they moved like a wave through the stars. Quiet, cold, necessary now. There were no wars. Not because of fear, but because people saw what life could be. They saw Earth's cities, Earth's schools, Earth's health, and they wanted that without force, without orders. They changed themselves, because Earth had proven one terrible, beautiful thing. You don't need to conquer worlds, you just need to show them something better. It began with the stars. For a long time they had simply burned. But now, across the galaxy, people noticed something strange. The stars seemed to blink. Not in the way light flickers, but like they were watching on the world of Marin. Children began pointing at the sky and whispering, "They see us now." At first, no one listened, but then the observatories confirmed it. In 12 different systems, stars changed their flicker rate. Not randomly, not due to age or fusion, they blinked. In sequence a message. One scientist decoded the pattern. It spelled 2 words in ancient human binary. We begin. The galaxy froze. For years, Earth had cleaned up chaos, silently fixed worlds, disappeared enemies. Built without commands. But now, they weren't reacting, they were starting something new. The Council, what remained of it, had no orders to give. Its halls were empty. Its leaders silent. Even Zor Valen, once a warlord of words, now lived alone in the ice deserts of Kelma. He heard the signal, like everyone else, and he understood what it meant. They've done repairing, he whispered. Now they'll show us what comes after. In the deep edges of space, a change began. Human ships, small, silent, black like the void, started gathering near dead stars. No one was attacked. No words were spoken. They simply moved. Thousands of ships, millions, maybe too many to count. They formed shapes, spirals, rings, grids. Someone, watching from a distance, called them constellations of purpose. Because each pattern had a meaning, not a threat, not a warning. A lesson. One pattern hovered near an old war-torn world, the remains of a council experiment that had once enslaved human settlers. The pattern above the dead world showed a heart, made of dots. A voice came once. This could have been your future. Then the ships left. The planet remained broken, but now it had a mirror in the sky, a reminder. On another world, once known for corporate greed and endless mines, the human ships formed a perfect circle. They left behind nothing but a tiny metal plaque buried in the center of the richest mountain. That it said, "Value is not what you take, it's what you leave." No attacks. No destruction. Just quiet correction. But not everyone welcomed this. A few last power-hungry empires tried to resist. The Relari sovereignty A race of warclad hunters gathered their final fleets. 200 ships, they launched toward Earthspace. Broadcasted, hate, swore resistance. And vanished. No battle, no debris, no signal, just gone. Except for one message received by every Relari citizen 5 hours later. A soft voice.com. You may forget what you did. We don't. After that, the Relari fell silent. No one heard from them again, but across the galaxy, their planets began to heal. Crops grew faster. Cities became clean. Weapons disappeared, and no human ever landed there. It was as if Earth no longer needed bodies. They had become something else. Not conquerors, not rulers, not invaders, but force. Memory. Truth. And the most terrifying part, they never said what they wanted, because by now, everyone knew. You already had the answer. They had shown it with every act. Fix what you broke, protect what you once ignored, care for those you forgot, and if you did, they helped you. If not, it simply erased the problem. Cleanly, without drama, without fear. The stars blinked again. A new pattern. It spelled a word in ancient Terran code. Phase 2. What was Phase 2? No one knew, but the galaxy had a feeling it wouldn't be war. War was simple. War had already happened. This would be something bigger. On the cold planet of Demara, a child drew a picture. He had never met a human, but his hand moved on its own. He drew a city in the clouds, a place of peace, then wrote one word underneath. They're building us a future. His parents wept when they saw it, because it was true. Earth wasn't here to lead. It was here to guide without asking. Not kings, not gods, just watchers. And now, they weren't just watching, they were moving. They came on the last day of the cycle. 12 ships. Each shaped like a spiral star, each glowing with soft white light. No weapons, no escort, no banners. No banners, just presence. They stopped above 12 core worlds, each from a different species. Old homeworlds, ancient centers of power. The skies lit up. Not with energy, but with truth. Each ship released a single beam of light, pointing downward. Inside it, a door appeared. People gathered, watched, waited. No sound, no instructions. Just the quiet hum of invitation. Only one person from each world was allowed inside. No one knew how the ships chose them. One was a janitor, another a sick grandmother, a boy too young to speak, a builder with no arms, a priest who had lost his faith. 12 people. 12 choices. Each walked into the light and vanished. For 3 days. The ships stayed silent, then they opened again, and the 12 stepped out. Changed, not glowing, not superhuman, just clear. Eyes, bright voices, calm. They all said the same thing. Different words, same truth. We saw what comes next. They were not given powers, they were given understanding. Of Earth, of the balance, of what humanity had become, and what the galaxy could be. They explained it simply. Earth had watched for hundreds of years. It waited, hoped, tried. Peace, tried silence, tried warning, nothing worked, so they built something better. Not a weapon. Not an empire, but a system, one that didn't need control, only example. Humans didn't spread with ships, they spread with change, ideas, hope, or the now that the galaxy had seen, what Earth could offer. The choice was theirs. Earth would leave soon. The machines would remain. The balance would continue. But no more judgment, no more punishment, because now, Earth had done enough. They had opened the future, and anyone could walk in, or turn away. It no longer mattered because Earth wasn't leading anymore. It had shown the way. The rest was up to the galaxy. And then, slowly, the spiral ships rose, not into the sky, into the stars themselves. Each one faded into the heart of a different sun, becoming part of the sky, like guardians, or memories, or both. No signal followed, no message, just a silence that felt like peace. On 1,000 worlds, people changed, not by force, not from fear, but because they wanted to. Corrupt leaders stepped down. Old crimes were forgiven. New cities were built with human tech but local hands. Children were taught the human way, not as truth, but as a choice, and most chose it. Because it worked. Because it was fair. Because it gave them something the galaxy had forgotten. Hope. The stars no longer blinked with threat. Now they blinked like a heartbeat. Soft. Alive. Watching still but no longer judging. Because the future had changed. Not just for Earth, for everyone, and in the far corner of an old galaxy, on a green and blue planet that once begged for help, a girl looked up at the sky. Smiled. And whispered for words. We gave them everything. And she was right. Earth gave the galaxy its worst fear, a reflection, and then gave it its greatest gift, a second chance.